welcome. Another live, another day.
Yes.
Okay.
So we are focusing the next little series of lives on energy and energy in relation to parenting and motherhood.
The energetics involved in the process of not just parenting, like not just our interactions with our children, but the energetic practices that we want to engage in the experience of motherhood as a whole to make it a more sustainable, flowing, joyful, holistic experience.
The energy that weaves under everything all the time, like you've probably heard that saying, everything is energy. So bringing consciousness and choice and empowerment and like an active sense of engagement with that energy in the experience of motherhood.
Yeah. And what a powerful needle mover it actually really is. We were talking about that a lot of our biggest pieces over all the years of our parenting, and we've both over a decade now, aren't we, the biggest things that have really held, that have really made the biggest shifts in all that time was definitely the energetic work, the mindsets and the energy and who we be rather than what we do. The doing, there's important doing pieces too, but the doing without the being, like often when we become mothers, we get really caught up in our heads and the to-dos, like everything we've got to do to be a good mother, and we forget about who we be. But it's who we be that becomes the needle movers.
The doing actually often means nothing if you're not like in energetic alignment with what you're aiming to do. Like for example, I have to play with my kids more, and then you're playing with them with an energy that's so off from the intention that from like the reasons that you actually wanted to play with them and the energy you wanted to bring in, then it does the opposite. It does more harm than good a lot of the times. That's where energy is so.
Because our children are amazing receivers, we all are, but they're really good at receiving energy. And so anytime that our energy is not aligned and congruent, they will absolutely show that to you, for sure, in some form. So and it's the energetics that sit behind the work that we do around, so you have a value, I want to be more playful with my children. What is the energetic work that needs to happen there for you to be 100% fully in, heart aligned to that value that you're holding? Not just, what's the thing I've got to do, sit on the floor and play trains again. Yes. Because I've got to sit on the floor and play trains again. It doesn't have the energy that's even aligned with your value on why you want to be a playful mother in the first place. Your energetics are the needle movers in all of this. Good morning, Vicky. So nice to see you. How's New Zealand at the moment? Cold or beautiful? Probably beautiful and cold, maybe.
Yeah,
it's possible.
Cold can be beautiful. So the focus, the energetic focus we wanted to bring today was around your energy and feeling lighter. So I guess having more energy in yourself as a mother, because we were asked that on the last live that we did. We were
how do I feel lighter as a mother? And it's a great question because we coach a lot of mothers and it's really easy
to get... There's a lot of sleep deprivation, there's a lot of loneliness, there's a lot of...
isolation, there's a lot of asking you to grow and stretch all the time, so there can be a lot of self-criticism and am I doing it well enough? There's a lot of things running.
There's a lot of like, same old.
There's all sorts of stuff that can make you feel heavier, and often that is not in alignment with how you actually want to be showing up as a mother. It's not how you probably envisaged wanting to, like your experience of motherhood, like before you had children. That probably wasn't what you were thinking was going to be the experience of motherhood, and it's not aligned with the value that you have around how you want to be relating and showing up with your children either. And pretty much universally, I can't think of why that wouldn't be the case. I don't know any mother who goes, I want to come and be heavy. It's a little cold, but still wonderful. Yay, awesome. So how do we feel lighter? So what we did when we looked at this question, and as I said in the description above, Kaya and I are going to address any and all questions over the next couple of weeks on the topic of energetics and parenting. So if you have a question or something that you've been curious about or whatever, please write them in the, even if you're a replay viewer, definitely please write them in the comments, because we will just start making them the focus of our teaching topics. That's what we plan to do. So we started looking at how can I feel lighter as a mother, and we started to look at some of the things that we're about to bring into this next trimester in Mother Rising, because we're doing a deep dive into the energetics of parenting. And we pulled out a few pieces that were like instant, oh yeah, these things will really support answering this question. And so that's where we're going to go today. Do you want to pick one to start, whichever one that feels good to you?
Yeah, well, and they all kind of weave in together as well, so we might come back and forwards between them.
Yeah, and they weave in together in actual application and practice in your life. So when we say these, we're breaking them up to be nice steps so that we can explain to you, but in your life, it's all going to merge together. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So the first one that we have written down there is the concept of receiving, and such an epidemic, I think that's what you might call it, of mothers, especially mothers who are really dedicated to like conscious, loving, gentle parenting, is so much giving energy out, and almost like putting your own needs, your own self-way on the back burner, which is definitely a recipe for feeling heavy, and not feeling light.
Yeah, so it is, like, if we're honest, fair enough, it is a primary thing in our job description, the giving, the doing. And I would argue it probably goes even more. I think mothers, it's even more exaggerated because 24/7 we're giving. But I would say women in general have a lot of trouble with the receiving. Actually, my husband isn't very good at receiving either. So maybe everyone has trouble receiving. Receiving is such an important, huge piece. I'm like mega passionate on receiving. Receiving is, it's the way, okay, so if all your energy is going out, you will get into a depleted state. It's very hard, I think it's kind of impossible actually not to. There must be energy coming in to go out. Yeah, so that means in theory you need to be receiving as much as you want to be giving out as a mother. Yeah, and I had a teacher once who challenged me for a week to receive more than I gave, which was a stretch for me at the time. I was like, oh, I don't know, more than I give? I don't know if I can do that. So what do we mean by receiving? Because receiving is so juicy on so many levels, and the nuances of it are huge.
And we want to not jump, which is what we'll continue to do in this whole energetic parenting theme, is not just jump to the big external how-tos. Like, it's not just about being willing to have a friend help you out. Like, that's really important. But one of the most powerful things about energy is you can dial it right back to the essence.
And do it in a moment.
Yeah, it can be so simple, so tiny, just a slight shift in the way that you're focusing your energy, and create such a ripple and top you up so amazingly.
So what do we mean by receiving? So the example that Kaya just said, by getting a friend to come and help you, is it's a big act of receiving if you actually receive it. And I would argue that 90% of mothers don't actually fully receive that experience. They're like feeling bad about it. Like,
oh, someone's helping me.
Oh, I don't feel good about this. If they could fully receive it, then that would be a great example of receiving.
Yeah.
But the ones that are so powerful, those micro ones, it's often the micro ones that make the biggest difference. Really receive the sun on your skin. Really receive...
One of my favourite ones.
Yeah, me too. Really receive the glass of water that you're drinking, or the food that you made, or really, really receive your child in front of you, or the hug they give you, or the joke they tell. Such small moments. It can be hard to stay in a receiving space for a long period of time, especially if you're new to the idea. But if you fully receive little moments, They continue to top you up. And you need that to create sustainability. Hands down, you need that to create sustainability in your life.
And you'll feel lighter.
Hugely lighter. Yeah. And the nuances to receiving, we're going to do like a whole master workshop on receiving in this trimester that's coming. So I'm not going to go too deep now. But you also want to fully receive the things that that don't actually feel positive as well. When you're in resistance to receiving that, you're holding the experience in place and you'll feel crappier. If you receive it, then it moves through you, it moves out, and you can clearly see what's yours and what's not yours. So there's a lot of nuances to receiving. I think in this slide, probably the easiest thing is just to focus on receiving to top up, to nourish yourself. All the tiny, tiny, tiny moments. Receive a smile, receive your favorite song on the radio. And how do we receive? Imagine opening your energy wide, like you're basically letting it all in, and use your breath. That's really supportive too. Breath is actually a major tool in working with energy. There's 4 or 5 that we're going to teach. Breath's a big one. Breathe it in, open up, and really experience it emotionally in your body.
Letting it like saturate you, or surrendering to it, like letting it really touch the depths of you.
And it might only last for 3 or 4 seconds. And that if you've truly felt it and experienced it, it will nourish you. That is enough. That is absolutely enough. And you will feel lighter. Because the body's natural response, physical response to fully receiving something is gratitude. Some flavor of gratitude, like that's a continuum, but is the expression, is the feel of gratitude in your body. It's going to lighten your energy straight away. So receiving is a huge, big piece. We often resist the moment. Absolutely, Vicky, we do. We deflect it, and there's all sorts of reasons we do that, and sometimes we're not even awareness, even like acknowledging that
I don't have time.
I don't have time.
Always in the future or the past.
Yeah, so presence. For 5 seconds and receive the moment. The more you do that, the lighter and lighter and lighter your energy is going to get across the day.
I love how you said allowing the power of the moment. That's a beautiful sentence, Vicky.
I love that too. Yeah, absolutely. Beautiful. Oh, I love that. We should write that down. We're going to quote you on that, Vicky. Okay, next one.
So, I'm going to kind of combine a few of them together.
Yeah, we kind of have started to.
And so I want to bring more attention back to the power of breath. I think often, so many humans, we also have another epidemic of not really breathing, like consciously, and to the extent where we really bring in, there's enough oxygen, but there's also energy. Like energy comes into us on breath, and energy moves out of us on breath. So actually bringing a little bit more attention to our breath and to consciously breathing. And there's like a gazillion of different ways to do that.
Breath practices have been around for thousands of years, so that's not new. You can pick your favourite one. I would actually argue sometimes we're not even getting enough oxygen.
That too. Oxygen and energy go together. And oxygen will make us feel depleted and not light as well. Like it's all connected.
Like you look at high performance studies, or like Wim Hof and his method, they're like hyper oxygenating their blood.
Kundalini yoga as well. I've been doing heaps of that lately.
So breath is like way more important than we think.
Yeah.
And on the level of energetics, it's one of the primary ways. So you've got intention, you've got breath, you've got visualization, you've got movement, you've got sound. Like those are the predominant tools for working with energy in the physical, right? So breath is a big one. Breath is a huge one.
So if you haven't already got one or a few, find some breath practices that maybe even could just take 1 minute a day. But find some conscious breath practices that are just you bringing more energy in and also breathing more consciously.
Yeah.
Receiving more energy. You receive with your breath.
I was going to say, in the receiving practice, you can tie so many of the things that we're about to say, because receiving's the big one.
So, and the cultivating and expanding and growing energy is very much related to breath as well. Like that's a powerful thing about energy, is it's so back to the basics. It's like the building blocks of life. And when you connect with energy, you have infinite capacity to create and to grow and to expand. It's not limited. So the more consciously you connect with energy, you connect with your breath, and you bring your intention into how you're using energy, like you can choose to cultivate and grow energy in yourself, and it is so. Like, you can make that happen. You're magic in that way.
You could, for example, fully receive a moment, emotionally experience it in your body, breathe and grow it. You can cultivate it and build it in your body. And notice that none of the things we're saying are go sit on a mountaintop by yourself somewhere. There's this thing about the energy work. It has to be really practical. We've already got a ton on our plates. What we're talking about is what you need to do in the day as you're moving through it. Not, oh God, I'm going to have to carve out a whole spiritual practice. There's values in that too, but that's not what this is the focus of. Yeah. So you can do that growing of energy. And I think a big piece on the growing of energy with breath is what my coach calls the miracle mindset, but an awareness of the energy. Like if you fully receive a moment, and you have the awareness of it, it's so easy to grow it. If you don't have any awareness of it, you're not going to grow it. You're not going to receive it. You just like it's like
awareness and appreciation of it as well. Like really appreciating the gift of what you've received, appreciating the experience of presence that you've just been in and that you're still in, and appreciating your breath helps to expand it. Like gratitude grows.
If you receive it, you're going to feel that gratitude and you'll get that away. So all of this is going to happen spontaneously in the moment, and then you just choose to grow it if you want to. Grow it with your intention and your breath. Just let it build a little bit.
And even just the simple thing, like, because the topic that spurred this conversation today is, how do I feel lighter? That word light and the energy of lightness, you can just bring that into your breath practice, or bring that into your receiving of the sunlight, and just like, I'm feeling lighter, and grow feeling lighter in your body. It's like the intention that expands out from you.
And then look for it appearing in your life, because it will. And it's one of the biggest things that gets missed. They talk about it in the abundance and manifestation world too. Often we manifest things and don't even acknowledge that we've created it. Because energy is so subtle and it moves so organically through our day. So there's a piece of like acknowledging and awareness that needs to happen there. To ramp it up. So the last two pieces, well, we kind of talked a bit about embodiment, but if you've got a lot of stuff weighing you down, then you can cultivate more light energy that you want, but there's also a releasing or a letting go of some of the stuff that's keeping you feeling heavy. And I think that's the last two pieces.
It is,
Do you want to give it a whirl?
So emotions are energy they're energy in motion when we welcome them, when we love them, when we allow them to be felt, when we allow them to move through our bodies. But when we distract ourselves from them, or make them wrong, or shove them down, or like just
I can't deal with that, I'm not going there.
Then they will actually feel like heaviness, and they will feel stuck, and they'll drag us down, and they'll have us feeling the opposite of light. And
long term they have huge ramifications, because they don't go away. They just you're holding them in your body. Okay, the natural state of emotions is to move constantly. If you actually hold it in your body, then they are going to start to weigh you down, and they're going to continue to attract to them the same resonance, like a magnet. But like, so it's going to get. I'm thinking about one of those children's movies, where the evil black blob has all these things coming to it, and getting bigger. Is that same idea? That's good.
Giant, all-consuming blob.
Exactly, and that's definitely not light.
And so that is the final tool we have for you is to actually feel your emotions. Don't distract yourself from them or push them away or make them wrong. Like, allow them. You actually can feel light by feeling grief, by feeling pain, by feeling anger, by feeling sadness.
It's through the
by feeling
movement.
loneliness.
Yeah, it's through the movement of the emotion and the space behind that gets created is where the lightness is. And you know, if you've ever had a good cry, like a really good cry, how much more spacious and light afterwards, you know, you say, oh, I feel better, oh, that's better. That's because you let a lot of the emotion move. Okay, and it doesn't have to necessarily be, a lot of people think it's going to be really heavy and scary and too big. It's not.
Sometimes it's just as simple as touching it. What am I really feeling? Be present to it for a few moments.
Yeah. And receive
often
it.
Don't even do that.
Receive it.
Oh, sorry.
We're a bit close today. Receive it. Fully feel it.
Yeah.
Fully feel it. That's hard to say, you know. Fully feel it.
Yeah.
And that is going to create greater lightness too. And again, that's a topic that's important in all your energetics, is the releasing and clearing piece and your emotions. Because your emotions are all energetic stuff, definitely. So that's a big one. And we can go into way more depth in the coming weeks. And definitely, if you come and join us in Mother Rising in the next couple of weeks before we start this next trimester, then we're going to go deep into all of this. But we want to bring this to our general community as well. So I think that's good for timing for us today.
Yes.
So if there's
to feel
questions,
lighter, receive the moment, breathe. Just kind of trying to sum it up.
Oh, yep.
Feel your emotions.
Yep. Choose to intentionally cultivate something. Feel the emotions to let the heaviness go. So there was a few tools in there. We touched on a few, and we touched on them like a little bit, yeah. And you can obviously go much deeper in them. So if you want clarification, you want to add something, please do so in the comments below. Otherwise, we'll see you next time. I don't know when next time is. When is next time? It would be good to tell people when next time is.
Quite soon. We're going to do more lives than usual now.
Yeah.
But, possibly tomorrow. We'll have to look on our calendar.
Maybe tomorrow.
If
or
not
Monday.
Tomorrow, yes, Monday.
So the next couple of days. Yeah, we'd love to share with you some more. Thank you for being here. Thank you for the replay viewers for being here.
And the YouTube viewers and the iTunes listeners.
I'm sorry, I forgot again. Yeah, we're streaming this everywhere. Thank you to everyone. And if you want to share or comment, we will check and we will continue the conversation in the message threads that are occurring.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.